Now, the recent exponential hike in fuel prices in the country, the free-falling shilling and the skyrocketing cost of living may have informed the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition to award President William Ruto a D- score in his first year as president. The recent prices at the pump, which have crossed the historic 200 shillings mark, may have just exposed the government's inability to arrest the current situation that is getting out of hand, being the most expensive in East Africa. Our political affairs reporter Emmanuel To analyzes the fuel price hike and the statements by top Kenya Kwanza honchos before and after the 2022 general election and the politics of fuel that President William Ruto capitalized on to occupy the House on the Hill.
In the run-up to the 2022 general election, Deputy President William Ruto then capitalized on President Uhuru Kenyatta's economic blunders and the perceived ineptitude to curb the high fuel prices. Then Ruto and his brigade used every opportunity to lay right at the doorsteps of President Uhuru Kenyatta then the lack of ideas in solving the high cost of living, trashing any excuses advanced by the Jubilee regime.
Hii mafuta inaongezwa usiku na mchana. Mimi nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba these people don't understand the damage they are doing to the people and the economy of Kenya.
Fast forward to September 2022, a year after President William Ruto was sworn into office, the head of state seems to find himself between a rock and a hard place on addressing the same issues that bedeviled his boss.
Bei ya mafuta ndio hiyo imefika 135. Mimi nataka niwaulize wale walipatiwa majukumu na rais, subcommittee ya cabinet ya serikali yetu, waketi chini kwa njia ya dharura, watoe advice ndio tujue tunaenda vipi.
There wasn't actually a fuel problem. It was a misdiagnosis. The problem was an economic and much more a dollar problem.
I want to tell this government we are giving them an ultimatum. Within 1 day, leo hii ikiisha, lazima waite mkutano wa dharura na waondoe hiyo maneno ya kuongeza kodi katika mafuta.
Yeye walikuwa last regime na President Uhuru Kenyatta. Ile simo Kenya ambayo iko, huyo mzee ndio waliigiza Kenya.
In September 13th, 2022, before retired President Uhuru Kenyatta could hand over to President William Ruto, the cost of super petrol in the country was retailing at 159.12 shillings per litre. A year later, the same commodity is retailing at a record high of 211.64 per litre, a difference of 52.52 shillings within a year for a litre of super petrol.
Our scorecard for this regime is 30%. That is D-.
You stood on a platform of bottom up. Kusaidia wale wanyonge, alafu uende juu. Lakini sasa hizi mmesahau. Mkiongeza fuel, mnatesa wale wa chini zaidi kushinda wale wa mbele.
A spot check of fuel prices in East African countries also revealed that Kenya's fuel price remained the most expensive, being the only one that has gone past the 200 shilling mark. In Uganda, a litre of super petrol is sold at 197 Kenyan shillings and 187 shillings in Tanzania.
How come that fuel in Uganda is cheaper than fuel in Kenya? So, and yet the fuel being sold in Uganda goes through Kenya.
With the government still grappling with a conglomerate of challenges, it will be seen whether the cost of the commodity that has a ripple effect on other commodities will come down, but a section of Kenya Kwanza leaders have already predicted doom in coming days. Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
Moving on, UDA Secretary